Okay, we're in round one. Got the choice. We'll play first. And this looks good to me. A couple reasons why this is a good hand. We get Llanowar Elves into Sword of Fire and Ice for turn 3 potential attack. We also have Force of Will to protect our plays, either getting rid of the Progenitus, which isn't good to have in our opener, or getting rid of the Metamorph if we find some way to get Progenitus out. So I like it. Remember, if we lose Progenitus, we still have plenty of win cons. So that's kind of the nice thing. We've still got like the Avenger, we still have Deranged Hermit, we still have Woodfall Primus. So still absolute ways to win the game with or without the coolness of Progenitus. All right, pretty easy play. I guess this hand doesn't have a blue source, so that could be an issue, but still, the fact that we can play Force of Will without having a blue source house is why Force of Will is a very good card, I guess. So I actually don't want to F6 in case he burns my elves, and I may want to protect it. Factory, okay. Interesting. Let's go ahead and get that sword out. So we're in pretty good shape already. The reason being, I'm going to be able to equip. He could play a red source here, and I'm still going to be able to protect my Llanowar Elves after equipping. So very good spot, I think, to be in. He can't even Swords to Plowshare it. That doesn't actually matter. Although I guess he can block. Opposition. It's another thing I can exile to the Force of Will. So I could play Metamorph copying Sword of Fire and Ice. How strange is that? It's not really that bad. It's not. It really isn't. Because then next turn I could potentially double equip, which is pretty insane. The problem is I don't want to equip here and attack because then I have to trade. Whereas if I play a Metamorph, copying Sword of Fire and Ice and draw a land next turn, I double equip with Force of Will backup, have a 5/5 that's got oodles of abilities on it. Alright, I'm dropping Metamorph. We're going to copy our Sword of Fire and Ice. And we're going to pass. I think at this point I'm much more willing to ditch the Progenitus than the opposition. Although, that's tough to say. Considering we don't have any blue sources yet, we're not really on the... We don't have a ton of creatures out right now. Might not be the best. Certainly taking 3. Sword of Light and Shadow. So I could copy that. Do I want to? Not at all. So we'll let that resolve. Here's a blue source. Very nice. So we get to double equip swords here. He could have free spells and we can still force it. Double equip. This is keeping us from drawing additional cards, so I wonder if I can deal the damage. And it says, well, it all has to resolve at once, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to draw the cards here. But the fact that I'm going to deal some damage is pretty insane. I think he can get in with his... He doesn't have the mana to activate plus equip unless he draws another land. But then at least, I guess, it occupies his entire turn. Alright, so guess we do that. This one hits him. Oh, no, I did that in the wrong order. So the last one should have hit him to draw the extra card. So I screwed that up. That was actually a mistake on my part. But that's okay. Not the end of the world. Still have Force of Will for any potential relevant spell he gets here. But yes, I should have done that the opposite way. Hit this first. That way, the second trigger that resolved would have allowed me to draw an extra card. So certainly a mistake on my part, but not necessarily a game-breaking one. He has to play something pretty relevant here for me to be concerned enough to force it. Porcelain Legionnaire, no concern in the world on that one. I mean, well, here's the thing. If I force this Porcelain Legionnaire, I get to draw 2 extra cards and deal 9 damage to him. But if I don't force it, I just attack in. What does that do? I think I want to force here. I'm going to force. So I think I'm going to get rid of the Progenitus. Why does it say x equals 10? There's no x. I mean, that's Progenitus's mana cost, but why is it saying x equals 10? There's no x associated with Force of Will. That's funny. All right, let's get in. Draw some extra cards. Deal some extra damage. Cobra. Flooded Strand. Nice. So I can actually... That's silly. Yeah. This is actually going to be brutal, I think. So we play Cobra. Now I could actually natural order, but I think what I want to do is... Yeah, I guess I do want a natural order. Okay. I think this just gets a concession here, so let's do that. So we'll add a green. Because we're going to find a Woodfall Primus, even though we could do Avenger. The reason I want to get Woodfall Primus is not only does it have Persist, but I can get rid of his planes, so he can't even swords it. And if he like destroys it, basically we're just land destructing him pretty hard here, as well as getting a fatty on board. So let's find our Trop Island. Get yet another land. Two, three, four. Sack the Cobra. Get the Primus. Destroy the white source. Now I'm destroying white once again because this just lets us avoid Swords to Plowshares and Path to Exile. As well as some sort of weird, I don't know, Wrath of God, which is in this. Although Wrath of God, I guess, wouldn't be that good against Primus. But yeah, we're looking pretty good right now. Our opponent was already missing land drops. We just land destructed him. We have a double sorted elves. Can play opposition even if there's no reason to. But in theory, it's something we can do. All right, so got the concession. Playing against some sort of blue-white tempo deck, which I tried before and was reasonably successful with. Sort of Light and Shadow, thankfully not that great against us, whereas sort of Fire and Ice is potentially very good against our opponent, although the only creatures we saw were white, but he is in blue. I imagine he's a tempo deck. We don't have much of a sideboard plan in general. Stomp Howler destroys both of the creatures he played, by the way. The Legionnaire is an artifact, and the Spirit is an enchantment. So the Stomp Howler straight up becomes like a Necrotal versus those two creatures we saw. That's certainly worthy of mentioning in my mind. But does that mean I want to swap into it? Maybe. I mean, we still have the Slime, too. But admittedly, Stomp Howler does seem very good there. Does it seem good enough where I want to swap into it? I'm not sure. I still like the Hermit and Avenger more because of the opposition. I think I still like Sword after watching how that played. That was pretty crazy. Let's not go overboard with Stomp Howler just yet. I think Acidic Slime's probably better because it hits lands too. So let's just do another one. Very good hand here. Rofellos, always nice to have. No real card advantage yet, but that's okay. We'll keep it. We actually want to... I was going to say we want to save our... Yeah, we do actually want to save our fetches for a couple reasons. We have Oracle and we have Lotus Cobra in our deck. So that's actually two major reasons why you want to sort of wait for that. All right, so he's just playing like a beatdown deck. Could be opposition's a bit worse in this matchup, but that's not the case if we find our Deranged Hermit relatively early or something like that. So Rofellos is going to let us get a turn 3 Oracle. All right, so he's just playing straight up blue-white tempo beatdown. It's kind of my assumption. Let's get this Rofellos out. We may need to trade off our Oracle, but only because we're getting beat down. I mean, the problem is I can't do it immediately because our creature's intertapped. But, ooh, well, there's something to ramp into. All right. So I could play the Foothills to find our a Trop Island, which would be an extra forest. But I still kind of want to use it for the Oracle next turn if I have to, depending on what's top. Or, well, yeah, depending on what's on top of our deck, honestly. And I can play an additional... Yeah, all right. Well, let's see if he's got the counter spell here. The old blue-white tempo. Wait, why did I didn't need to play that hinterland. That was a mistake. I guess this protects us from Force Spike or Mana Tithe. There, I just justified it. So we have Elvish Mystic on top. Kind of don't want that. So I think I'm going to play the Wooded Foothills. And I'm going to crack at the end of his turn. What cracking at the end of his turn does is allows me to know what's on top of my library at a more relevant time. Like if he knows during his turn what's on top of my library, he might play differently. But being able to crack the fetch at the end of his turn and seeing some information coming into my turn fresh is kind of nice. We also are going to have Avenger next turn for a lot of value. Windbrisk Heights, very nice. And once we get Avenger opposition, that's a quite the lock. I do have to keep in mind Avenger and all his tokens are going to enter tapped because of imposing Sovereign. It's also important to keep in mind. Image, not a huge deal here. Oh, he's copying Oracle likely for the bonus. Very nice. So he gets to play an additional land. I am going to have to start protecting myself here. I'm getting a bit low on life. Definitely want to crack the fetch, though. I don't want a Mystic on top of my library. All right, so let's crack the Foothills. And we're going to find our Trop Island. Oh, the other one on top of our library now. Interesting. All right, well, we're drawing it anyway. Sort of Fire and Ice on top now. All right, I think we just want to play Avenger and then follow up with a couple islands. Could get Mana Tithed, I guess. Something to keep in mind. I definitely don't want to get Mana Tithed. He strikes me as a deck that's playing Mana Tithe. He could also have Memory Lapse in his hand. He gets to keep it up here, which is a problem. The way that I can play around that is I can play an island now. I add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I have an island, I have an extra mana to pay for a Mana Tithe or a Force Spike. And then I can still play another island after I resolve my Avenger to get all my guys up to 1/2s. I mean, they're much better as 2/3s. But I really do. I just don't want to get Force Spiked here. It's very important that we resolve this Avenger. So I'm gonna play around the. I'm gonna play around Force Spike. All right. Now we immediately play another island to buff our guys. He can respond here by killing our Avenger, and then our plants don't get pumped. But then if we resolve an opposition, we can lock him out of the game, essentially. So now we play the island, buff all our dudes, and then I drop the elves just 'cause. Probably blocking with Oracle at this point, just for damage protection. Only have one blocker here. Riftwind Cloudskate, so decent card to have on top. I think we're trading. I'd trade with an Imposing Sovereign. Maybe the Oracle. He gets Windbrisk Heights here. I can't do anything about that. Okay, so Dungeon Geist can lock down our Avenger. Okay, locking down the Oracle of Moldiah just to guarantee get that damage in. I see. Alright, so we take our 6. He gets Windbrisk Heights. Journey on the Avenger, I'm guessing. We're still in okay shape here. This opposition's going to do quite a bit of work for us. Okay, so he's going to Journey Avenger. I mean, of course I wish these were 2/3s, but it's alright. Let's see here. Sword of Fire and Ice, Progenitus on top, yeah. Progenitus, not coming out anytime soon. So, what are some options here? I can Raphellos, get the sword down, as well as equip my elf, or my plant token, attack, draw, deal some damage. Yeah, that's huge. Alright, so we use Raphellos, play the sword, equip sword on a plant, attack with plant, he pretty much has to block, I think. Maybe he doesn't. But if he doesn't, then he's in a bit of trouble. He's taking it. All right. So let's kill the Oracle or the Sovereign. I guess Oracle. Get some nice card advantage from that. Then we get to draw. We're playing opposition, leaving up our guys, and we can tap down his crew during his begin combat step. Riftwind Cloudskate can't do anything really except bounce opposition, but that doesn't matter because we'll still get to use it. Wait, why didn't I get to draw? Deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and you draw a card. So, for some reason, because the 2 damage didn't resolve, I didn't get to draw the card. I don't understand why that didn't work. I guess that's why. Did not expect that to happen. I really didn't think that's how it worked if it says, and you draw a card. but I guess it has to be on a separate line. It would have to say deals 2 damage to target creature. Draw a card. I don't know, but all I know is I didn't get my value, so not too happy with that. Alright, so now we pass. During his begin combat step, or when he plays Cloud Skate, I bounce, or I could have actually what I should have done is upkeep, tapped 2 of his blue sources. That way I could tap down his creatures still, and he wouldn't be able to play the Riftwind Cloud Skate. I didn't think about that. It likely is not going to matter, but that would have been the wiser move for sure. And now he has priority, so I can't do it. Now I can do it. So let's tap down blue source. Maybe we tap down his... better to tap down his creatures first. Actually, I want to do that as his begin combat step. The reason that I'm tapping down his islands... Actually, this isn't going to work either. He can just tap in response. But he didn't. Because he can tap in response. He didn't figure that one out, but... Well, let's just go to begin combat. All right. Progenitus. Not the best draw. Deranged Hermit on top. Very good with the opposition as well. Let's get in with our plant token. Deal 2 damage to Sovereign. There's a Deranged Hermit, so we can play land. There's a Mana Vault on top. Now we can play Hermit. Am I stop it? Okay. Get some squirrels. Pass the turn. Alright, so during his upkeep we go, oops, undo that. We go opposition, this guy, let's just tap his creatures first. Cancel again. This, tap. This guy, squirrel. And because it's upkeep, it's going to leave. He's got to play an instant, basically, if he wants to float this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to tap every land he has. Yeah, he's floating, I think. No, he's not floating. Oh, no, he's trying to. Oh, he is floating. Okay. Our opponent thankfully has less time on his clock, so I'm not worried about slow play coming into question here, but being able to tap every single resource he has seems pretty important here. And yes, he will be able to play an instant, but I'm not aware of any instant speed board wipes or anything like that. I kind of want these opposition. Oh, okay. We'll let the factor fiction resolve first. So he gets Helix, Surrender Befreit. I think we just do Helix in one, even though he can't even play it. I think we do, okay, so we do Helix. We definitely don't want the Mesa and the Helix in the same thing, because then I guess he can't do anything, can he? I'll give him a Helix and an Island versus these three. So we got the Helix. He's most certainly dead next turn, so he basically would have to play a white all right. So if he plays a Mox Ruby and a white source, then I guess we lose. All right, got there. So cool. Deck worked nicely. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad to see the blue-green ramp do something. Opposition with Avenger and Deranged Hermit. Super cool synergy there. So very fun. All right, we'll see you in round 2.